Hey, welcome back to this mini lecture. My name is Dino. It's on helping students cope with hardships, Part 1 Introduction to Support, based on McGrady's work. The focus is on exploring how to support students in hardship. In terms of children in hardship, children are not immune to hardship. I'm sure some of you know from your own experiences growing up or having siblings or friends who grew up in difficult situations. These hardships shape how a child handles life challenges. Guardians are important to support children, whether it's a legal guardian, parent, grandmother, grandfather, uncle, aunt, etc. They're integral to developing student coping strategies. They equip children with coping skills to match their unique needs. Coping may be more difficult depending on the child's formative stages of development, life experiences if they're harder or easier, and social emotional understanding. If they're more understanding, I presumably it would make coping a little bit easier. There's a few different vocal areas for supporting children. We should focus on helping them process their emotions. Similarly, by doing that, help them release emotions in a healthy way. Discover effective calming techniques so that they can cool down from a heightened state. And help them, by doing these things, increase their self-confidence and self-assurance so they can continue to grow. Here's a number of coping strategies. Multiple strategies over time that reach focal areas that are important to the child can lead to long-term self-driven coping, so they can drive the coping themselves as opposed to having a third party help them with it when they get older. These strategies could lead to better understanding of strengths and self-preference, where one best processes and moves forward. By having an exploratory sampling of strategies, this could increase the self-esteem and overall reliance of children. People who are helping out, like guardians, teachers, counselors, they should present these coping strategies in a practical manner. Something that can also help is to provide time for strategies to be learned so that it's not overwhelming. By doing this over time, ideally the person helping with the strategies can help mold these strategies to the child's unique social emotional learning style. Ideally, to help reinforce them, use these strategies, these approaches consistently so that they reinforce. Ideally, give a child time to reflect on the effectiveness to see what works and what's less effective. And sort of based on some of these points, I think you get this. Stagger teaching new strategies to not overwhelm the child, because if there's new strategies at too rapid a pace, it can not sink in. Some other points to remember. Patience is obviously key. Take time to explore coping strategies for you and the child. Empowerment is important. Allow children to set the pace, tone, and outcome of the process. Be non-judgmental. Avoid forced discussions, time frames, or expectations in healing, which may be unrealistic depending on the child in question. In terms of guidance, give directives rather than directions, so it helps them grow. Be open-ended. Remind the child that there is no such thing as right or wrong in this process, and that it will evolve and emerge depending on the child in question. And finally, in terms of reflection, allow the child the time and space for quiet reflection so that they can take an inventory of how they've improved over time. So, final considerations about hardships. Children of all stripes face hardships in their lives, just a matter of how many and how intense they are. Some steps to remember for child support: help them process their emotions. On a related note, help them release these emotions in a healthy way, and help them find calming strategies so that if they're in a heightened state, they can deal with them. Say if they're in a public setting, so that they can save face, they can get calm, and they can model for other people. And ultimately, coping strategies can give kids tools to overcome current and future difficulties. That was helping kids cope with hardships, Part 1, Introduction to Support, based on McGrady. Thanks for watching. Please feel free to like this video. Please feel free to comment. How did you cope with hardships when you were a child? Who helped you cope with it? How cope with these difficulties? Did teachers, counselors, parents help you? What recommendations would you add to this list of tips to help children deal with hardships? Finally, as always, please feel free to subscribe to the channel if you like this type of content. Thanks for watching. Take care.